Hey guys, it's Brianna coming at you with a Wellness Wednesday video, and this topic is on eating disorders and how to find your way out of them. And this is coming from experience and from something from a book that I'm reading. And this, I believe, don't quote me, I believe this applies to restricting eating disorders and overindulging eating disorders. I could be wrong because I haven't experienced the latter, but I can say that it feels and is becoming to feel more true for me about restricting eating disorders, which I have experienced. So if that's you, either of those, stay tuned because I have something that I think is very important. So on my eating disorder journey, I have struggled with orthorexia and anorexia. And it started for me when I was about 15 or 16. And my orthorexia story is in my other videos on this channel. And so, yeah, anyways, since I was 16, off and on, and most of the time not realizing that that's what I was doing. I just knew that I was just barely getting by, or not barely getting by, but just kind of doing and eating what I could to sustain and survive, not to actually like feed myself and nourish myself and give myself what a normal, healthy human being would eat. So, so anyways, disordered eating, like a focus on eating that is unhealthy, whether it be eating too much and focusing way too much on what you're, wanting to eat, or like focusing on maybe wanting to eat but not, or wanting to restrict that and just not letting yourself eat. So, primarily what I'm going to be sharing is something that I started consciously thinking about as reading this book. So, and the book is called Regaining Yourself. It's a bold new approach, breaking free from the eating disorder identity. So the key word is identity. And so for those with eating disorders, this one is talking about restriction. The other one is overindulging, or overeating, the key word is identity. I can't remember what the first part of that sentence was. Sorry, I have allergies, so I'm just like rubbing my nose like crazy. So what he says in this book, I hope I can find what he actually says. But basically that an anorexia, or I would, say he says eating disorders. Sorry. Eating disorders is an identity disorder. And it's like these girls, women, boys, men who come in and have eating disorders ended up having primarily an identity disorder. Like, they didn't feel like they had anything good or worthy and like to cling to or to have as an identity, and so they took on the eating disorder as an identity. Like, this is who I can be. I want to find it, but real quick, if I don't find it, I'll just keep talking. So anyways, he found that the more he would talk to his patients, so he was a doctor and he started seeing patients with eating disorders because his first patient had an eating disorder, and by being with him, it helped her. And she was recovering faster when she was with him and talking with him, and so they kept sending him people with eating disorders because what he was doing was working. And he wasn't even trying necessarily to use his method as treatment, but he was just talking with the person and getting to know them and like sharing about his life and just finding like similarities between him and them and like perfectionistic tendencies and stuff. But he found that it helped them to be able to share about themselves and to talk about who they were and what their interests were, and that he would get excited for their interests also. And so it makes me reflect on my journey, and that as I'm simultaneously recovering from disordered eating and regaining a sense of self, and like being comfortable with myself, like what I want is okay, what I feel is okay, what I think is okay, and it's me. Like I can identify as those things, as opposed to like before it was like, and it still is, I'm still like unwrapping myself, kind of like unveiling the truth. But it has been like, often I would look at myself and the world through a lens of like good and bad, right or wrong. And that's a really fear-based place to live, and it's hard to have an identity in that place, because you're not, you can't say like, this is what I like, this is what I enjoy. It's like, or this is what I don't like, this is what I want to do, this is what I feel. It's always like a moral thing. Like I'm either doing something good or bad, or right or wrong. And that's not in the book necessarily, but that's just what I have felt from experience, and what I believe has like stopped me from actually feeling like I had an identity, because everything was just right or wrong. It was not like, oh, I have something that's me, and like I can trust myself and I can trust my feelings and my thoughts and my emotions. It was like there was like this hollow inside, because everything was just basically like, it's right or wrong. It's judged as, right or wrong. And whatever was wrong had to be rejected. And if it was right, it had to be accepted. So there's not a whole lot of room for preference and who you are, unique expression. What do you want to say? Like, what do you actually think about this person? What do you actually, so you can see where that can be like, the two don't really coexist very well, like an identity and like having a judgment of right or wrong, and or like that being what dictates, or like that voice that's telling you what's the word? Sorry, I'm having a hard time. But like that's criticizing, or like basically you have this identity, but like it's constantly at war with this thing that's telling you whether what your identity is saying or wanting to do is right or wrong. So like you're never actually given that opportunity to just be and do yourself. You're just constantly wondering, or you're in this place of making yourself be one way or the other, not actually accepting and honoring and being who you are. And so it makes me curious, like, does that apply to other people, like people who, on the other side of the spectrum, are struggling with disordered eating, like as far as gaining weight and eating more, choosing food as like this thing that matters a lot and is comforting, and or whatever the feeling is, I can't speak to it a whole lot other than what I've heard from other people, and just being a person and knowing that it feels great to eat something good, and often it does fill a place when you might be feeling empty or whatever other emotions. So I'm curious if that's been your experience, whether you have an eating disorder one way or the other, and how you might use that knowledge for gaining a better understanding of yourself, having more compassion on yourself, that, you're not just this, like, transient thing that can be judged as good or bad. We are transient, but, like, you're not just a thing to be judged and criticized and said, well, you're doing this right or you're doing this wrong. Like, you have a true core identity, and that is beautiful and authentic, and I want you to trust that more and more without judgment. And so just learning to appreciate yourself, learning to value your emotions and what you like, what you don't like, what you actually feel comfortable with, not what you think you should feel comfortable with, or what you don't, just honoring whatever you have, whatever's real for you. So yeah, that's been really helpful on my journey. Just, being able to accept and say, like, yeah, I really totally fucking dig this thing. And, maybe some voice somewhere in the past, in this little corner, is telling me it's wrong. But I'm going to honor the fact that something, I want it. Like, I like it. And, there's, there's that mature adult part of us who can also say, oh, I also want to behave ethically. I also want to behave in this way that's conducive to, or that's benefiting others also, and positive for society and positive for myself. But, having a healthy balance and an adult voice in your head as well, but, like, just honoring yourself. So anyways, I don't want to ramble too much. I hope that's helpful. And I would just encourage you also, do things you enjoy. I was just thinking, like, painting and or going to the beach, or whatever it is that you feel like you really enjoy. You deserve that. You deserve to honor who you are. You have this one time in this life, and depending on what you believe about the afterlife, but to just genuinely exist in the form that you want to. So enjoy that. Have fun, have joy, have creativity, have sweet times, have love and bonding and relationships, all the things that make your life great. Just maybe go out and do that and see what happens. Alright, wish you the best of luck. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if this is helpful, how it's helpful, what you're doing with your life, and what you're finding enjoyment out of. And yeah, just express yourself. Do your thing. Love yourself. Accept yourself. And see what happens to your eating disorder. So, anyways, that's me for today. Well, it's actually Wealth and Wellness Wednesday. So, let's see, what am I going to say about wealth? I believe that doing the things that you love will bring in wealth. I mean, people say it all the time, but I feel like you're going to create that energy around yourself. Not that there's any pressure to do that. Like, oh, you have to create this energy around yourself to where you're building money, doing what you love or whatever. But I feel like, I don't know, you're just going to walk into riches, you know, whatever that means, whatever that looks like for you when you're doing what you love and when you value yourself. And you're going to be asking for what you deserve. When you value yourself, you're going to spend your time, you're going to ideally work towards, you know, valuing your time and what you do with it when you start appreciating yourself and valuing yourself and doing things that you need to do and want to do because they're expressions of who you are and you're not going to compromise that. So I guess Wealth and Wellness Wednesday is going together today. So, all right, thank you so much for watching, and I'm really glad I get to share this with you. I really enjoyed this video myself. I like making it and stuff, and I'm really proud of it. So if you like this video, give it a like, and share your experiences below, please. Share your struggles. Does this resonate with you? Does this feel right at all? Do you have anything else to add? You know, if you or someone you know struggles with an eating disorder, yeah, go out and do you, and subscribe to this. Looks like I gave a like, but still like it. If you still haven't, like it. Please, please. I'm not going to beg. So, yeah, subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.